You're watching France 24 and it's that time of the day now for our look at the international press. Owen Fairclough joins me at the studio. Good morning, Owen. Now, France is only just recovering from its own rogue trader, of course, Jérôme Kerviel, who was released from prison on bail on Tuesday. But investigations into that €5 billion loss are, of course, continuing. And now, over on the Channel, our friends in Britain are doing the same sort of thing. Tell us more.
That's right, Catherine. A terrible week already for the world markets. Now we've got another major scandal, this time in the City of London. This is being described as a modern-day bank robbery in several papers in the UK, including the Daily Telegraph, for example. You can see there their front page, and the Daily Mail reporting on this. What's happened? This involves the Britain's biggest mortgage lender, the Halifax and Bank of Scotland Group, which lost £100 million off its share value. This was by a group of traders buying and selling shares yesterday. How did it happen? All spread by a false rumour, by email, suggesting that HBOS was in trouble. There was going to be a run on the bank similar to that of Northern Rock, and the executives at HBOS were seeking emergency funding from the Bank of England. Now, I should stress this is an unconfirmed rumour, and HBOS has denied that it's in trouble, saying it's got one of the world's biggest financial institutions with some £600 billion on its balance sheets. An investigation has been launched by the financial services watchdog in the UK. But again, a group of traders responsible for this, manipulating the markets. And I think it just goes to show, if you've ever had any doubts about how powerful email and the internet can be, this illustrates it very nicely.
Well, Owen, let's move back to France for a minute. The Sarkozys, of course, are rarely out of the papers, but this time it's Carla Sarkozy who's taking the lead and dispensing a bit of advice to us journalists.
That's right.
What does she have to say?
Indeed, yes. This is, just to recap, this was all triggered by the Nouvel Observateur magazine, which suggested that Nicolas Sarkozy sent a text message to his ex-wife shortly before getting married to his current wife, Carla, suggesting he would take her back. Well, President Sarkozy then sued the magazine. They dropped the case. President Sarkozy's now dropped the case after he received an apology from the journalists concerned. Although that journalist does stand by his story still. What's happened? Well, Carla has now taken the reins, as you say. She's written an editorial in Le Monde, which you should be able to see just there, where, as you say, dispensing a bit of advice to journalists. She's really taken to task the whole the growth in journalism, which is based on speculation. Journalists and people taking speculation, printing it as fact. It's a bit tongue-in-cheek. She calls it the "Someone Told Me School of Journalism," which is the title of one of her hit songs. Libération, the French newspaper, has also taken on this story. Their front page, you can see there, they call it the La Stratégie Carla, Carla's strategy, suggesting that Carla is now very much in the driving seat. She's helping to remodel President Sarkozy.
Right, let's move on to the US now. Barack Obama is having a bit of a quiet time at the moment, losing ground slightly to Hillary Clinton. He's being offered advice from Israel this morning.
Indeed, yeah. This is the Jerusalem Post in Israel. They've been following Republican nominee John McCain's tour of the Middle East and Israel, and suggesting that already McCain is beginning to look a bit statesmanlike and conducting American foreign policy. Contrast that with Barack Obama back in the US. He's losing ground in the polls, not only to his rival Hillary Clinton, but also to McCain himself. He's had a fairly tough week. You might recall his pastor. The pastor at his local church in Chicago had come out with some fairly controversial remarks. Some of those all suggesting that the problems of the Middle East were rooted in Israel. So Obama is really losing ground there. And the Jerusalem Post is suggesting that Obama might do well to take a trip over to Israel this summer.
Thank you very much indeed, Owen Fairclough, for that review of the international press. Stay tuned to France 24.